Welcome, everyone. Um, Beautiful day today. And today we have a beautiful guest, Anna Dannfelt. Did I say it right?
Yes.
Awesome. Anna is a veteran in aromatherapy, and we are talking today about the sacred feminine empowerment. Anna has worked with thousands of women all over the Europe, between 5 countries. And Anna specializes in holistic wellness, guiding women through the sacred menopause journey by integrating essential oils, mindset coaching, lifestyle adjustments, and deep spiritual wisdom. Welcome, Anna.
Thank you.
Yeah, so we started this conversation behind the screen talking about the pleasure and joy, connection that aromatherapy can bring to us into daily life and into the subconscious big deep changes. So aromatherapy is helpful for a lot of things, and you know about it. After 35 years, you walked your journey, you help thousands of people. Let's talk a little bit with intention. So we want to bring you tools, we want to bring you understanding and how can you use aromatherapy to bring 10% more joy into your daily life. How would that happen? What can we do? Let's start from a little bit of your journey. Why aromatherapy? What brought you there? And what miracles have you seen through this journey in your life, working with yourself, your children, your clients?
Aromatherapy was a love story from the get-go. I think it was in 1988. I was gifted a massage. So I went to this lady and she had essential oils, like 4 in a little box. And I saw these oils and I was like, that's it. That's what I'm going to do. And it started me on this journey. And at the time, aromatherapy, as we know it, it did not exist. So I became one of the pioneers in Europe, creating aromatherapy as we know it today. Everything, education, we had a school teaching what's on the labels, chemistry, biology, medicine, everything. And it was so exciting. And I had the sense that I was remembering things. I never felt like I'm learning anything. I was, yes, the chemistry, but for the rest, it was like I'm just remembering stuff. And it was such a deep, soulful passion in me. And I used it for everything, my children, my pets, my clients, myself, in every way possible, from beauty and skincare and all of that, until working with doctors. And I had a yen for really antibiotic resistant diseases and wounds and stuff like that. Now, a caveat straight off the bat is now I work online. So not seeing clients in private means that I do not go into physical situations, because to do that, I need to meet personally my clients. And I think it is not uh, okay to just give advice any which way over internet or the phone or so. So today I work primarily with emotional and spiritual aromatherapy.
Awesome. And we just touched a little bit on you focus on menopause, pre, post, and the whole journey of menopause. And a few questions popped up as we asked our community of what they need help with, what can essential oils help with. And if you can share a little bit about the mood swings and um, hormonal states, the changes that are happening to the body during and pre-menopause, and how essential oils can direct us that.
Okay, then first we have to start from the beginning. And the beginning is understanding how the oils work in us. Not just that, oh, it happens. They are actually physical entities that enter our bodies. So when we rub essential oils, they fly, right? So they're very small molecules and they fly easily. So when you use them on the skin in massage or in a bath, you need to cover the area so that the oils go in through the skin instead of flying away. Now they're small enough to go through the skin layers and into the bloodstream. And through the bloodstream, they're carried to the entire body, every cell in your body. They also pass what is called the blood-brain barrier, so they can move into the brain. And the blood-brain barrier is there to stop toxic elements to move into the brain, because this is the big ruler, right? The same thing happens when you inhale essential oils, and this has been tested, the different ways, of course. So when you inhale an essential oil, what happens is that the only place our brain actually sticks out from the cranium is in the nose, these nerve endings, and they're like sensors. So the molecules of the essential oils fit into these sensors like keys in a keyhole, and they enter, literally physically enter the brain. And from the brain, it will access the bloodstream and again pass through the blood-brain barrier and into your body. So if you're around essential oils, they are physically going to go into your body and do the business. Now, if looking from this point of view, you also realize that you need very, very, very small amounts for this to happen. I mean, for us to even know that we're smelling essential oils, it takes a lot of molecules. But to have an effect of the essential oils physically in your body, it takes only between 6 and 9. So they're very subtle. And in the brain, they connect, they do their business with our hormonal system, our emotional systems, memory, cognitive brain functions, everything. And this is how they emotionally and hormonally can impact and balance us in different ways.
Oh, thank you so much for this knowledge. It kind of lifted up. It's like I don't even know how this works. I know it does somehow, but I don't really not really familiar with that. That gives a lot of clarity. I appreciate that. So, how do I know, right? If I want to shift my perspective, my current emotional state, how do I know what oil to use, where to go?
Mm. Ooh, that's a big one. Okay, this is there are all these things say, oh, this oil will do that, and that oil will do that, and that oil will do that, which, yeah, basically they do. And especially on a physical level, that is very accurate. But when it comes to emotional things, we're individuals. Every person is different. So I could say to you, oh, rose would be brilliant for you in this. Rose is so good for this. And you smell the rose, you go, yeah, I hate this. It ain't going to work for you. I mean, it's as simple as that. So you can't really go to a book and say, oh, yeah, depression, yeah, okay, I'm going to take these oils, and you take this oils, and you're like, oh, I'm not liking this, but the book said that it works. The oils, it's such, as I said, it's a in spiritual, deep, passionate love affair. You make love to your oils, or maybe they make love to you. So what I do with my clients is that I listen to them, I feel into them, because it's a process, right? I listen to your story, I listen to what you're not saying, I'm connecting spiritually, energetically, and emotionally with you, so that I can find where you are existing in that realm. And then I choose some different oils for you. And if I have you there in person, I can use the oils as a diagnostic tool. I can give you different oils to smell, and that will tell me where you are. If you're not there, we're online. I just connect with you. This can be done with Zoom because distance is nothing, right? So I connect with you. I've got my oils here now. So I would connect with you, and then I just go into my oils, and I would feel which one do I want to have for you. And I'll bring it out, and I will give you some tips. And if you're on your own and you just want something to help you, go to a shop that sells essential oils and smell. Just try a bunch of oils. And if you find an oil where you say, oh, I feel so good. Oh my God, I love this oil. Buy it. Use it. That's your oil. I mean, sometimes it's really as simple as that. We don't have to complicate stuff. And then you just use it. And you can do everything from just inhaling it from a bottle or putting it on a tissue and maybe have it in your bra or something, because as I said, they fly, so the heat will make them lift. So you will be in this magical scent all day. And then you can do that and mix different oils. I know there are blends out there. I don't work with blends because I create the oils that are needed. But if blends work for you, fine, do it.
Thank
So
you. Yeah, I love that you called it a love affair. It's something to connect to yourself on a deeper, more intimate level. And from the point of view of ancestral healing, right, we often go into this subconscious journey. And to open up to receiving in this journey, it requires some level of self intimacy, some level of connection with your inner intuition. And it often happens when we talk about resistance. When we go, we want to shift something out of your life. We want to let go of some pattern, like interrupt some pattern, and introduce or attract, right? More serving pattern. I want more serving habit. I want to shift from addiction, let's say, to food. And I want to spend more of my time in joyful state when I'm full of energy, right? I want to create more. I want to be more in the flow. How can essential oils and aromatherapy help in that journey, help from falling into the old habits and introduce this inflow, this connection with yourself?
I'd say it's a bit like cognitive therapy. So you can use an oil to reprogram. It's neuroplasticity, right? You can reprogram your mental patterns by connecting an oil with something pleasant, for example.
Mm.
So that, I mean, everybody knows you do that, you'll be punished, you get hurt, and you won't do it again. Now, we can do that, but in a positive way, right? So you use an essential oil to enhance the, what should we say, the balanced way of feeling, being, seeing, acting, reacting. And then that oil will be connected with this specific emotion. If it's joy or empowerment or uh, whatever, it will be connected to that. So that every time you smell the oil, that part of your brain will kick in. Because when the brains are just going, and this is also important to understand, when we're just doing nothing, our brains are doing their business. They are looking for problems. The cognitive brain spends its entire time looking for problems, right? Oh my God, because they have to protect us. No matter that we've been around for thousands of years, we're biological beings, and our systems are acting from a biological point of view, not a clever point of view. So our brain is constantly looking for problems and what is not okay, which will in us very often show up as anxiety, as stress, as depression, all these different things. So by deciding to take the reins over your brain and decide how you want it to act on things. So when you have a problem, say, for example, you know that when I come into a bakery, I just can't resist it. I have to have the croissant chocolat or a cake or whatever. I can't. Then you think about it really carefully. You meditate on it and say, okay, brain, I hear you. I see you. You're really dying for a pain au croissant, but that is not what I want. So instead, we're going to do this oil. And since the oils trigger all these feel good hormones, the serotonin, and ooh, you feel so good, right? You will have programmed the brain. So between that woo feeling again from the essential oil and the pain au chocolat, the oil will win. But
Mm.
of course, this is not bam, it's going to happen. You have to practice. You have to keep doing things. People think that they take an essential oil and it's going to fix everything like this. It's quick and easy, and it's not. You have to practice and you have to work with yourself. But yes, oils can definitely help you through past negative behaviors or thought patterns. Definitely, yes.
Awesome. Would you recommend a way of practicing that, right? So if I, for example, know that 9 p.m. I just like when I feel anxiety, I go to the fridge. Right? That's the first thing that I do. I go to the fridge. And I don't want to do that. I would rather do yoga, I would rather meditate, I would rather read a book, I would rather do, like draw or do something that brings me into the flow. But this is my habit. I feel anxious, I feel into the victimhood, I'm falling into it, I'm falling into resistance of my habits. How can I introduce this practice with essential oils to shift this pattern, to introduce a little more joy into my life, to shift my behavior?
That's actually a really, really, really good example because it's very clear. I'd say, first of all, we have to become aware of what's going on in our brains, because very often when anxiety comes, it creeps on us and we don't really notice it until we're reaching for the fridge, right? But by that point, the anxiety has been pushing us for quite a while. So the first thing is to become aware of what we have in our heads. We don't know. If you say to somebody, what are you thinking right now? I don't know. Because they don't know. We don't know. We're not listening to ourselves. It's all out there and nothing in here. So first of all, to start becoming aware of your inner signals and triggers and impulses. So you say, ooh, I feel this sinking feeling in my stomach, or it's crawling in my back, or something that sort of tells you that anxiety is coming, right? For me, it's this sinking feeling inside my stomach that I know it's there. And then you go straight away and you reach for that essential oil and you go and do something else. You use the oil as a gateway to get into another kind of activity. Like you said, maybe you want to do yoga, or you want to take a walk, or you want to dance, anything. And especially when it comes to emotions, movement is key. It's like Hippocrates says that you should have a massage every day to move the toxic substances out of your body. He says it in a different way, but basically that's what he says. And what he's talking about, the toxic substances, are the hormones. And guess what? The stuff that make us feel bad, it's hormones. The stuff that make us feel good, it's hormones. It's just about balancing them with each other. And if we have a lot of anxiety and stress and mood swings and depressive thoughts, and so it's a hormonal imbalance. So by using the essential oil, balancing those hormones, and directly doing something else, preferably movement, because that movement will move those negative hormones out of your system. And you probably will have to go and have a wee, because it happens like that. And then the positive hormones can take the place of that. And you do it as often as you have to do it, as you need to. And one day you will find yourself reaching for that oil and getting into movement, because that's your go-to when you're not feeling okay. And you won't even notice that it's happening. And one day you go, oh, hang on a minute, it's changed, right?
Yeah, awesome. And that's kind of unpatterning of this serving pattern. What if, and I know we have questions, so I'm checking on the Facebook to see if we have questions in the comments coming in. There was also a kind of a question about the pleasure practice, like how can I introduce or add working with the essences, with the oils or the smells, to maybe create this new pleasure practice for me, or bring more pleasure to the thing that I'm already doing. Maybe I'm washing dishes, maybe I'm doing something routine, maybe I'm going for a walk. How can I add this pleasure sensation? Is it just take what you oil that you love? Is it just something, the combination? Is it maybe different oils for the different part of the day? How can I work with it more consciously, more mindfully?
If it comes to just that, the pleasure of it, it's really not complicated. Just use the oils. Use oils you like. and play with them. Use them as fragrances in your house. And if you have oils that are, because also to remember is that oils have a certain shelf life, right? And it's anything between 1 and 2 years, depending on how they are stored, except for citrus oils, they only have a 6-month window, but for the rest of them. So cool and dark, that's how you want to store them. And if they're not okay, they will still smell good. You won't have the same, what should we say, physically chemical effect in your brain as you do when they're fresh, but they smell good. And since you're already sort of programmed on the oils, just that scent will make you feel better, will put a smile on your face. Use them when you're cleaning. For the rest, I'd say, like I said, put a couple of drops, put it in your bra, you have the scent all day, and you can try different oils, you can try different blends and see what you really, really like. And you can use them in a diffuser in your home, if that makes you feel good. So any way that feels comfortable to you. And I think it's important also to make it as simple as possible. When I first started as an aromatherapist, I would have this like, oh, we bathe in this oil 3 times a week, and then you put this there and that one there, and this mix and that mix. And it was also complicated. People were like, oh, no, this is too, give me an aspirin. So I have figured out, keep it as simple as possible, because if it's too complicated, you will not do it. And you're just shooting yourself in the foot. Keep it as simple as possible. And the simplest way you can do it is literally taking that bottle, juniper berry, beautiful oil.
I even felt the expansion as you did. Oh, that feels so good.
They want to know, just a little extra trick that most people are not aware of, is that if you get an oil, a new oil that you don't know so well, they'll be different. Really light oils, they fly. The molecules have different sizes and heaviness, right? So heavier oils like vetiver, sandalwood, cedarwood, and so on, don't fly as quickly as, for example, orange. But if you hold a bottle of oil, open oil, under your nose, and you're not breathing in, you're just not breathing in, and then you sort of open your nose. If the oil flies, and you can literally feel it going up through your nose and up into your head, that is a good essential oil, clean, pure, and potent. If that's not happening, or it sort of stops somewhere halfway here, it's a synthetic. Easy.
Interesting. I know that that was actually one of the questions as well. How do I know which oil is good? Like, you don't always trust what the bottle says. That's one of the techniques that you mentioned. Is there anything else to pay attention to?
Yes. This was a big discussion back in the 90s when we were discussing labeling essential oil bottles, and it was England, Finland, Norway, and some in France, and then us in Sweden. And we were working together. And what we ended up deciding, and that goes today for all essential oils, is that it should have what should we say, the popular name. So say, for example, in English, it would be orange oil. It should have the Latin name, Citrus sinensis. It should have pure essential oil. It should have country of origin, and it should have when it was bottled, not a best before date. Because if you put that bottle without the cap on in the sun, it will be dead in no time, because they oxidize. So the more air you have in the bottle, and the more light and the more heat, the quicker they will oxidize, i.e. go not bad, but lose their potency. So therefore we say when it was bottled, because then you know, okay, this was when it was bottled. So today we have this date, it is this age, right? So that's the most important things to know about oils. And also, if you're buying them, you go to the shop and they're sitting on shelves and under strong lights and it's warm, don't buy them. Don't buy them. You can go to the shop. You can use the shop as a testing place to smell the oils, because the smell doesn't change that much. You have to be an expert to be able to smell your way to the age of an oil. But for you guys, when you go to a shop, you can use the shop to go and test the oils. smell them. Oh, I like this, I like this, I like this. And then order them online, because usually when you order them online, they've been stored and kept in fridges until they're sold, because nobody needs to see them. So you will probably get better qualities that way. And another little tip about trying oils, our sense of smell can only take about 5 oils, and then it just shuts down. So after smelling 5 oils, you can either smell coffee grinds or breathe in through wool or
Mm.
go outside. And then you can do another 5 oils. So you just need that break in between. Little tips.
Well, tips, great, thank you. And I think you have answered another question that we had, and maybe you can add a little more tips to that as well. It was about how we can use oils to awaken your femininity and stay in it. And maybe connected question is, how can I develop my intuition? Can I go into the source of myself by using essential oils?
Okay, I think I start with the intuition bit. There's some oils that are really well known for deepening that whole movement in us. And one of them is, probably know it, it's frankincense.
Mm.
And the thing with frankincense, as you know, have been used in churches forever. It's so its properties is that it deepens the breath. It makes your breath slow down and deepen. So you breathe much deeper, which is great for meditation or spiritual practices. It's also antibacterial for airborne bacteria, churches, right? And it creates this mindset. You start breathing deeply. And when you start breathing deeply, you start reaching deeper within yourself. So prayer and meditation, therefore it's always been used in churches. So I'd say frankincense is the first oil to go with. Cedarwood has been tested. A friend of mine years ago did tests with cedar oil and found that cedar oil was the oil that helped his group of testers to go fastest into meditation, that it was of great help with meditation. So usually for meditation, these spiritual purposes, the a bit heavier base note oils are better. Patchouli can work very well also, but patchouli is a playful oil. It's not this is apart from this deepening, it's also extremely playful. It's a childlike oil. So there you have your oil for your femininity, right?
Mm.
And patchouli is also an aphrodisiac. Jasmine is an aphrodisiac and can be fun to play with for your femininity. Rose as well. Now, both rose and jasmine are very expensive oils, but still, thing with rose is that everybody doesn't like rose. Really interesting. A lot of people say, I do not like rose. Another oil that works for that is ylang ylang. And again, be careful. I find that men seem to like ylang ylang more than women for some reason. But in high doses, it can give headaches. It's a very, very strong, intense, powerful, pushy oil, but that also helps with this whole sensuality, femininity, feeling into yourself. So again, geranium as well. Geranium is a balancer, hormone balancer, and also great for like mood swings and irritations and stuff like that. Ylang ylang is for anger. Geranium is for irritation. And very often when we have a problem finding into our femininity, if we're going to talk about that, what is in the way is a personal judgment. And our systems, we know that we have a personal judgment, maybe not here, but we know it here, and it can create anger or fear or sadness or a negative feeling. So sometimes the oils that will help are not like really obviously sexy or aphrodisiac or feminine, so but they are the one who will help release the blockages so that we can reach into that part of ourselves.
Mm. I love that you mentioned anger and irritation. And there's a part of the work that we do when those emotions come in, rather than trying to remove them, we welcome them in. right? And there's like, it feels like the essential oils that you mentioned, right? The ylang can help with welcoming and allowing anger to come in, allowing irritation to come in, so we can see and feel the wisdom behind it rather than just being angry at anger, right? And like I'm angry at experiencing, I'm judging myself for feeling the anger, I'm judging myself for as if I should have been something else. How does that sound to you?
Yes, definitely. Because whatever we're judging and denying will just grow stronger within us. So the only way is to allow that anger. But I think we're told always, be a good girl, don't be a good boy, don't be angry. Oh, it's scary when you're angry, or that is not good, or you're being a bitch, or you're this or that. There are all these negative connotations connected to negative feelings without thinking that they have their base in something. And once we allow them and we accept them and we let them flow, they're not that bad. They don't bite our heads off. Then suddenly they are not so powerful anymore, and we can actually do something about it and allow them to be released. Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah. And I feel like that's something that can help also going into the childhood memories, right? As being the fastest channel to open up the memories, especially the memories that bring some expansion to the body, right? Like there's some smells that maybe immediately take us to the situation of I don't want to remember, but it's taking you there, right? And when you have the block of subconscious, when we're going deep into deep healing, and going into you mentioned also the sacred menopause, right? Going through the transformational journey and allowing the superpowers that are hidden behind the fears, the doubts, the uncertainty of what's coming into the next stage of the journey, coming to allow the essential oils to bring us. Can you tell us a little bit more about this connection between the essential oils and our subconscious?
All scents are really connected to our subconscious, and the sense of smell is the least known. But it's like we can't really figure it out of all our senses. And here, it's not just the essential oils. We can use the essential oils to physically go in and create changes and new programmings and all kinds of things in our brains, right? We can work with digestive systems, with urinary systems, with muscular systems, also all the physical systems through the brain, because everything in the body is controlled by hormones, right? So if you can get in the hormones, you can create changes. But then you have all the other scents, smells or scents that are just memories. They're not essential oils. They don't go up in the brain and do their business, but they are connected to a memory or a feeling. And that is so powerful that you can relive a whole situation that you normally should have forgotten just because you smell something. And these memories are usually extremely deeply emotional. Deeply, 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 deeply emotional. That's why they stayed, and that connection was so strong, because we smell things our entire lives. We don't remember everything from a smell. Every smell does not mean anything to us, even though we probably smelled it like 1,000 times. But the smells that are connected with something that is deeply emotional, that will bring it all back for good and for bad. So this is also a way, when I worked with trauma, especially childhood trauma clients, I use it as a way to bring up not so much the memory, because that's not necessarily the point, but the emotion and what happened at that moment. And I can use the oils or scents to bring that up. And once it's up, we can work with it. Then it's there. It's there to be handled, to be seen, to be taken care of, to be loved and rubbed and fixed and sorted so that you can move on. So smells are incredibly important to us as human beings. And basically, it's also, I mean, to me, I've always smelled everything ever since I was like a baby, really, really tiny, way before the essential oils. And I know once my son, and he was like really small, he was maybe 5, and we had to get money in the machine. So I put my card in, I get the money, take it out, and he's just looking at me and he goes, Mom, first you smell the card and then you put it in the machine. And when the card comes out, you smell it again. What do you think the machine did with your card? And I'm like, did I? So my family has always been joking about that. Yeah, Anchan, she smells everything. Everything. She smells everything. Because to me, it's my library. I know so much from my scent. Everybody isn't like that, but a lot of people are much more than you'd think. And the weird thing is, most of the people who are like that, they're not even aware of doing it. They're not even aware of the scent library they're building up. They just have these amazing noses, but the connection, the mental connection between that and the brain is not always active, shall we say. Yeah.
People, thank you for reminding that. It's like I'm just going through the times of the day when I'm smelling things and like, what am I remembering? What is it connected to? What emotions I am experiencing through that? Would you recommend any practice, any to add mindfulness to kind of rediscover the world of smell for people to experience? Maybe not necessarily through essential oils, but in general, or how can they introduce that? How can we add that? How can we remember about the smells?
Start smelling, start smelling. And I say, take it easy, turn it into a game. So you say, I take one new scent each week, for example. I'll work with that scent for a week. Smell it. Just, if it's an essential oil or it's the coffee or bread or whatever, the scents that I really like. But something, and it could be something that you don't like. It doesn't always have to be wonderful and beautiful. It could also be like, people don't like the smell of horse shit. I love the smell of horse shit. Or cow poo. I mean, I'm a country girl. I love all those smells from the country. But take a scent, if it's an oil or whatever scent, and then work with it for a week and see you and journal. Always, always, always journal. Always journal. When you've used something, an oil or whatever, always journal, because we think we can remember, and we never do. And one day it's like, I don't remember, what was it? So journal, because that's also how you can follow your own progress.
Mhm.
So work with a scent every month, every week. Like we talked about earlier, Vika, about how do we increase our pleasurableness with 10% per,
Mhm.
we decided on per week, right? So you can tell your people about that.
Yeah, definitely. Look, adding smelling as a pleasure. I feel like it's very powerful practice to add. It's like this time when I will smell. I love even going outside. What am I smelling right now? And like you said, it's not always the pleasant thing. It may be something. And there's the same with the audio. Like, what else am I smelling? What else am I hearing? What else is out there, right? Because there's so many things around us. And there's this shift between, oh, this is reminding me of that. Maybe there's like a car driving by. They're like, oh, I smell the grass right now. I smell the snow. Like it's incredible for me to. I was walk in the forest, and we have a winter time, right? And there's the smell of a snow. It's funny because it smells differently, right? There's the smell of a snow on a tree versus the smell of the snow on the soil. There's a different connection. There's different experience of it, and there's a dog passing by, right? It's a very different thing. And for me, I also use like this the oil of sage as in before I'm going into the practice and before I'm going into the meditation or the group call. And then I have a smell of pink grapefruit when I want to lift myself up. It really brings me something something childishly playful in my day. Yeah, so just thinking about the smell of orange, what can be pleasant for that. Um, I think we answered most of the questions that we have so far. I'm just going to check the Facebook one more time. And what else? Oh, tell me about the workshop that you're running. We didn't touch base on that. Yeah, it's this Saturday. You have an event.
I'm holding a workshop on Saturday, this coming Saturday, and it will be 6 p.m. in Central European time. That's Paris time. Have to keep that's those time
Global
zones
audience.
in order. It's a bit complicated sometimes. And it's about um, emotional imbalances and essential oils. And basically, I will go a bit deeper on, especially anxiety, because that's a biggie that's not enough talked about, I think. Stress, also a biggie that everybody's talking about but don't seem to understand. And emotional imbalances, like what's it called, when you just flipping here and there, irritation, anger, when you just can't control your feeling, it's just all over the shop. So yes, of course, the whole menopause journey, but since this very often is also connected with hormones, so it's for women, and it's for every woman who wants to know a little bit more about emotional imbalances and essential oils. So, do we have a chat here?
I will post a link under this video along with your discovery call link, just to make sure we have one more question that goes a little deeper and more personal into the symptoms that one of the women is experiencing and would like to know if the essential oils can help with that. So is it okay for her to connect to you one-on-one?
Yes, when it comes to, yes, I have a calendar where you can connect. Just go in and look, and I will see you again on Zoom, one on one, and I hear your story. So, this is what I always do. I want to hear your story, I want to hear what's going on and what I can do for you, because that's the whole point. What can I do for you? And usually there's always a solution, and then it gets exciting. So you're very welcome to connect with me if you want to have more private consultations, or if you want to go deeper into something that you are dealing with. I am there for you.
Awesome. All right. So you have two options: connecting to Anna one-on-one and a private call. We're going to have a link for that. And there's going to be a group workshop about the emotional disbalance, stress, anxiety this Saturday. What is it? February 16th, right? So that's for all. It's for women only this time. 15. You're right. So February 15th, Saturday, Paris time. Yeah, got it. Thank you, Anna, so much. And today we talked about the pleasure practices and essential and adding 10% per week. Can we do that? Can we add 10% of joy, 10% of pleasure per week using just maybe rediscovering nothing else? Maybe what you got from this conversation is, ooh, there's a world of smells that I forgot about, and this reminded you about that. And maybe you'll start your journey in exploration with smelling a little more, of going to the shop and figuring out that maybe if you're in a time zone, a land zone when it's possible to smell the flowers right now or smell the trees, and you're gonna do a little bit more of that as well. Any last words, any tips, any reminders, any wisdom you would like to bring to the world of smell for us right now?
Yeah, I think when you use your sense of smell, use it consciously. um, record what you're perceiving. Don't just, oh, I smell that, but really record again what you're perceiving. I'm smelling this. What am I smelling? Where does it go in my body? If we talk about essential oil, where is it in my body? What does it make me feel? All of these things. And then again, it's good to journal, but the more aware you become of your smelling and that library you build up, you will have much more control and autonomy over your emotions and your life. Definitely, you have much more connection to yourself that way.
Thank you. Well, I wish us all to build and develop, expand our library of smells and bring in the autonomy of feelings, the sovereignty of our own emotional field. Thank you so much for your time, Anna. It was a
Thank
pleasure
you.
having you today. I'll see you next time.
Thank you so much, Vika.
Bye, everyone.